Have you ever walked out of a conversation feel like you were the problem or the bad person for setting a boundary? Like you went in calm, clear, grounded, and somehow you still ended up questioning your tone, your words, and the right to say no? Yep, that's not miscommunication, that's manipulation. I'm Bahar, and this is the No Apologies State Boundaries and Breaking Cycles podcast. Welcome to the first episode where we cut through the gaslighting fog, name the manipulation, and give you the no bullshit tools to stop shrinking and start standing in your own freaking truth. If you've ever said no and still feel like that you were the problem, then this is for you. Today we're naming the exact moment when something starts feeling off. When your body knows that your brain doesn't actually register it at first, but you just can't seem to figure it out in your brain what it actually is. So let's get into it. So recently this actually happened to me, even as an expert. Sometimes we fuck things up and we don't see the moment for what it is. And honestly, I wasn't even fully awake for it. So I had already taken my melatonin. I was winding down, getting ready for bed, and then I had ring at the doorbell. It was my ex-half sister. She came with her friend and a box of donuts. And I'm thinking maybe it's just chill drop-in, all good. I don't have a problem with no one else drop-ins, but I wasn't even close. They sat down and almost immediately it became very clear through their body language that this wasn't a visit. They were here to push my parenting boundaries, but wrap it up in politeness. They wanted to talk about my parenting and me not letting my daughter go with my ex-half-sister by herself. I was completely caught off guard, and I'd already taken my melatonin, so my body was actually shutting down, including my communication and my regulation tools that I normally use to ground myself down and get really clear in this moment. And I didn't just freeze, I went into fight mode. This wasn't communication. What this actually was, DARVO. So DARVO stands for Deny, Attack, Reverse Victim and Offender in psychology and criminal psychology. It's you try to hold a boundary, they deny it, you express your discomfort, and they attack you for being too sensitive or too emotional, or that you're the problem, pretty much. So they flip it around and suddenly they become the victim and you become the offender. It's a power move. It's subtle, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. Now, I'll be honest, before I had the knowledge and background in this, I even dived through things like, that's not what I meant. I can't believe you're using that against me. The things I did for you, these were the words that I used to use before I actually had the knowledge of DARVO and the knowledge of criminal psychology. That doesn't change the impact that DARVO has. So here's something I do know. How I normally do regulate in normal circumstances is I'll grab a pen and paper and I'll write down everything that the person across me is saying. Not only does this look like I'm paying attention to them, this also regulates my nervous system because it allows me to take breaths while I'm writing, and it also helps me go in without putting my emotions into my words. When you remove your emotions, you have that clarity. I don't want you to take the bait for when DARVO actually happens. I want you to feel safe. I want you to be able to see it and name it, and then flip the situation down by regulating your nervous system. Writing helps me. For you, it could be just breathing. It could be because what happens when we are not regulated, our shoulders tense and our jaws tense up. A few quick things you can do is just roll your shoulders down a few times and take a deep breath. Look around and name 3 things that you see. You don't have to name it out loud. And then I just want you to exhale. Let it go. I want you to say this to yourself. I'm not responsible for their discomfort. Their confusion is not mine to fix. My boundary isn't cruelty. It's my safety. And here's a reflective moment for you. I want you to think, where in your life were you felt like you were overcomplicating things, you were over-explaining your boundaries and not actually being taken seriously? Who turns your clarity into conflict? What would it feel like to stop apologizing for what you already know is true? If you've ever walked out of a conversation feeling foggy, confused, and just like you were the whole problem, how you feel like the bad person for setting the boundary, this isn't a misunderstanding. I want you to remember that this is a manipulation technique used by manipulators. And you are not too sensitive. You are not imagining things. You are not broken. You've been gaslit long enough to question your own clarity. But I don't want you to feel like this anymore. You didn't lose your power. It was taken from you. And now I want you to own the fact that you can get your power back. I am giving you the tools in every podcast that I do that I use and other tools that you could use so you can start getting control and regulating your systems a lot more better to be able to address people in these situations. I want you to get your voice back. I want you to be able to feel comfortable enough to use your voice because, sweetheart, you were put on this earth for a reason. You are so valuable, and I want you to be able to understand and believe and see how valuable you actually are and how valuable your voice is. And I want you to fucking use it. I want you to get that back. All said, this is the No Apologies Left Boundaries and Breaking Cycles podcast. And next week, we're diving into the most common trap that I see when people start doing this is, how do I set boundaries without feeling guilty? We're going deep because next week, it's all about encompassing the conditioning and the guilt that has been running the show for you for so long. And we're about to change that. So next week, I will see you at the podcast, and I hope you have an amazing, beautiful day. Take care and see you soon. Bye.